Hello and welcome. Before we begin, take a moment, just a single conscious breath, in and out. Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean, watching the waves and felt a sense of infinity? Or looked up at a star-filled night sky and felt profoundly small, yet connected to everything at once? Have you ever had a moment of déjà vu so strong it felt like a memory from a life you haven't lived yet? These aren't just poetic fancies. They are whispers from a deeper reality, invitations to look beyond the rigid grid of our everyday perception. Today, we're going to explore what it means to think beyond time and space, not as a scientific theory, but as a lived, conscious experience. This is a deep dive, a quiet exploration into the very nature of your awareness. If this is a conversation you feel called to, if you sense there is more to reality than what meets the eye, then I invite you to join our community of seekers. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and perhaps share it with someone else who might be asking these same questions. Your support helps us continue to create this space for contemplation. Now, let's begin. Let's start with the most immediate prisons of our perception. The clock on the wall and the walls of the room you are in. Time and space. They feel so absolute, so real. The clock ticks forward, relentlessly, carving our lives into past, present, and future. The past is a landscape of memories, some cherished, some haunting, but all seemingly fixed, unchangeable. The future is a realm of possibilities, a canvas of hopes and fears, yet remains perpetually out of reach, always a moment away. And the present? The present is this razor's edge, a fleeting now that becomes then, before we can even fully grasp it. We live our lives on this tightrope, balancing between the weight of what has been and the pull of what might be. We are, in essence, managed by time. We schedule it, we save it, we waste it, we kill it. It is our master, our currency, our ultimate limitation. We believe we are moving through time, like a train on a track, heading from the station of birth to the destination of death. But what if this entire model is a profound misunderstanding? What if time isn't a river we are swept along in, but an ocean in which we are already immersed? Consider your own experience. When you are engrossed in creative passion, when you're lost in a lover's eyes, or when you're in a flow of deep, focused work, where does time go? Hours can feel like minutes. Conversely, in moment of intense pain, boredom, or anxiety, a single minute can stretch into an eternity. The subjective elasticity of time is our first clue. It tells us that our internal state, our consciousness, has a direct and powerful influence on our perception of time. Time is not an objective, external force ticking away in a universe independent of us. It is intrinsically woven into the fabric of our awareness. The clock measures a mechanical, uniform succession of moments, but our consciousness experiences a rich, textured, and malleable reality. The past, which we treat as a concrete historical record, exists only as patterns of energy and information in the present. It exists as memory traces in your brain, as words in a book, as weathered stone on a building. But the experience of the past, the feeling, the emotion, that happens now. When you remember a childhood joy, the feeling of warmth and happiness arises in your body in this present moment. When you recall a past trauma, the clenching in your stomach, the racing of your heart, that is also happening now. The past has no power over you except the power you give it by reanimating it in the present. It's not a place you came from. It's a story you are telling yourself right now. To think beyond time is to first realize that you are not the product of your past. You are the present moment interpreter of its echoes. You can change your relationship with the past not by rewriting it, but by changing how you perceive it from the vantage point of this eternal now. Similarly, the future is a projection, a mental construct. It is a tapestry woven from threads of hope, fear, planning, and imagination. It has no actual existence. All anxiety is future-oriented. It is the pre-experiencing of a negative outcome that has not happened and may never happen. All hope is also future-oriented, the anticipation of a desired outcome. Both pull us out of the only place where life is actually happening, this moment. We spend so much of our lives rehearsing for a future that will, when it arrives, simply be another now. We sacrifice the reality of the present for the phantom of the future. This is the tyranny of linear time. It convinces us that fulfillment is always just around the corner, that happiness is in the next achievement, the next purchase, the next relationship. But when we get there, the goalpost has moved again. The promised land is always over the next hill. The great liberation, the first step in expanding perception, is to collapse this timeline, to see the past not as a burden to be carried, but as a library to be referenced, to see the future not as a destination to be anxiously sought, but as a field of infinite potentiality that is shaped by the quality of your attention in the present, and to see the present, this very moment, not as a fleeting point between past and future, but as the entire stage, the eternal now. This isn't a philosophical abstraction. It's the most practical truth. Your body is in the now. Your breath is in the now. The sounds you hear, the sensations you feel, they are all happening now. To anchor yourself in the present is to come home to reality. It is to withdraw your energy from the ghosts of memory and the phantoms of projection, and to pour it into the living, breathing fullness of this moment. In this state of presence, the frantic ticking of the clock begins to fade. You are no longer running on its schedule. You are resting in the timelessness of being. You start to notice the texture of reality, the intricate patterns on a leaf, the way light falls across the floor, the subtle shifts in the air against your skin. The ordinary becomes extraordinary because you're finally, fully there to witness it. Now let's turn to time's twin, space. We perceive ourselves as separate entities existing within space. I am here and you are over there. This chair is separate from the floor. This room is separate from the building, which is separate from the city, which is separate from the planet. Space, in our common perception, is the emptiness that separates things. It is the void, the container for all the stuff of the universe. This sense of separation is the foundation of our ego, our sense of a localized individual self. The me inside this body, looking out at the world out there. This is the fundamental duality that governs our lives. Self and other, inside and outside, here and there. But just as with time, what if this perception is a profound illusion, a trick of the senses? Quantum physics, the most successful scientific theory in history, has been hinting at this for a century. At the subatomic level, the concept of separate thing begins to dissolve. Particles are not tiny, solid billiard balls. They are more like probabilities, wave functions that are spread out. The phenomenon of quantum entanglement shows that two particles, once linked, can remain connected instantaneously over vast distances. An action on one particle here has an immediate effect on the other, even if it's on the other side of the galaxy. This spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it, violates our common sense notion of space. It suggests that on a deeper level, the separation is not real. The two particles are not two things. They are two aspects of a single, unified system. Let's bring this down from the esoteric realm of physics to our own experience. You are not just in this room. You are in constant, dynamic exchange with it. The air in the room is flowing into your lungs, becoming part of your blood, and the carbon dioxide from your cells is flowing back out into the room. The heat from your body is radiating into the space around you. The sound of my voice is a vibration in the air that is physically interacting with your eardrums and being translated into neural signals in your brain. You are not separate from your environment. You are a process in constant relationship with it. The boundary of your skin is not a wall. It's a permeable membrane, a busy interface. To think beyond space is to begin to dissolve these perceived boundaries. It is to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness. Start with your own body. We think of ourselves as a single entity, me. But your body is a vast ecosystem, a universe of trillions of cells, bacteria, and microorganisms, all working in a complex, intelligent harmony. You are not a noun, you are a verb. You are a community. Now, extend that awareness outwards. The food you ate for breakfast was once sunlight, soil, and water, transformed by a plant. That energy is now fueling your thoughts. You are literally thinking with sunshine. The water you drink has been in clouds, rivers, oceans, and other living beings for eons. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. You are not just on the earth. You are the earth. You are a temporary, self-aware eddy in the great cosmic flow. This isn't just poetry. It is a shift in perception that has profound implications. When you truly feel this interconnectedness, the sense of alienation and loneliness begins to dissolve. How can you be lonely when you are connected to everything? The other is no longer truly other. They are another expression of the same underlying consciousness, the same universal life force. Compassion arises naturally, not as a moral duty, but as a logical consequence of this perception. Harming another is, in a very real sense, harming a part of yourself. The environment is no longer a resource to be exploited. It is your own larger body. Protecting it becomes an act of self-preservation. The illusion of separation, of being an isolated ego in a vast and indifferent universe, is the root of so much of our suffering. It fuels fear, greed, conflict, and a ceaseless, gnawing sense of lack. We feel we must protect and aggrandize our little, separate self against all the other separate selves. We accumulate possession, status, and power to fortify the walls of our ego. But it's a fortress built on a foundation of sand. The expansion of perception beyond the confines of space is the realization that your true identity is not the wave, but the entire ocean. The wave is a temporary form, a beautiful, unique expression, but its substance is the water of the whole ocean. Your ego, your personality, your body, this is the wave. But your essential nature, your consciousness, is the ocean itself. So we've challenged the absolute nature of time and space. We've seen them as constructs of perception, not fundamental realities. But who or what is the perceiver? This is the central question. The common answer is, I am. But what is this I? Is it your name, your job, your history, your body? All of these things change. Your name was given to you. Your job can be lost. Your history is a memory. Your body is in a constant state of flux, replacing almost all its cells every few years. If everything you identify with is temporary and changing, what is the constant? The only constant in your entire life experience is the awareness that is witnessing it all. The sense of I exist or I am. This awareness was present when you were a 5-year-old child, experiencing the world with wonder. It was present during your teenage years of angst and discovery. It is present now as you listen to these words. The scenery has changed. The thoughts have changed. The emotions have changed. The body has changed. But the screen upon which all of it has been projected, the consciousness itself, has remained. This awareness has no age, no gender, no nationality. It is simply pure, knowing presence. This is the key. Time and space are not things consciousness exists in. Time and space are things that exist in consciousness. They are the fundamental tools consciousness uses to create and experience reality. Think of it like a dreamer. When you are dreaming, you create an entire world. That dream world has its own space, its own geography. It has its own timeline, its own sequence of events. While you are in the dream, it feels completely real. You, as the dream character, feel separate from the dream world. You believe you are moving through its space and time. But upon waking, you realize profound truth. The entire dream, the character, the world, the time, the space, was all happening within your own mind. It was all made of the same stuff. Consciousness. The dream character and the dream world were not separate. They were one. What if our waking reality is analogous to this? What if reality is a kind of shared, persistent dream, and our individual consciousness is a focal point within a greater, universal consciousness? In this model, time and space are the syntax of reality, the rules of the dream that allow for a coherent experience of separation and sequence. But the substance of reality, the dreamer itself, is consciousness. Thinking beyond time and space, then, is like becoming a lucid dreamer in the dream of life. It's the moment the dream character realizes it is part of the dreamer's mind. At that moment, the rules of the dream no longer have absolute power. The lucid dreamer can begin to consciously influence the dream. They are no longer a victim of the dream's narrative. They become a co-creator of it. How do we cultivate this lucidity? How do we move from being a character tossed about by the plot to an awareness that knows it is the dreamer? The path is not one of doing, but of non-doing. It is a process of subtraction, not addition. It is about quieting the mind enough to perceive what is already here, beneath the constant chatter of thought. The primary tool for this is stillness. In a world that glorifies speed, productivity, and constant stimulation, the act of being still is a radical one. Find a few minutes each day to simply sit. No phone, no television, no book. Just sit and be. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. The mind, accustomed to constant distraction, will rebel. It will flood you with to-do lists, worries, memories, and fantasies. This is the static of the ego mind, the narrator of the story of me. The key is not to fight this static. Don't try to force your mind to be silent. That's like trying to smooth out ripples in water by slapping them. You'll only create more turbulence. Instead, simply observe. Watch the thoughts arise, linger for a moment, and pass away, like clouds drifting across the sky. Do not judge them. Do not analyze them. And most importantly, do not identify with them. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is watching the thoughts. The sky is not the clouds. It is a vast, open space in which the clouds appear. As you practice this detached observation, a space begins to open up between you, the observer, and the thoughts, the observed. In this space is silence. In this space is peace. This is the beginning of disidentifying from the time-bound, space-bound character and remembering your nature as a timeless, spaceless witness. From this stillness, you can then cultivate deep presence with your senses. We live most of our lives in our heads. In the world of concepts and labels, we don't see a tree, we see the word tree. We don't taste our food. We are thinking about the next bite or the conversation we're having. To expand perception, you must return to the raw data of your senses before the mind labels and interprets it. When you drink a glass of water, feel its coolness in your hand. See the way light refracts through it. Feel the sensation on your tongue and in your throat. Experience it completely, without the mental label water. When you walk outside, feel the sensation of the air on your skin. Is it cool? Warm? Humid? Is there a breeze? Listen to the symphony of sounds around you. Not just the obvious ones like traffic or birdsong, but the subtle hum of electricity, the rustle of leaves, the sound of your own footsteps. By pouring your attention into your direct sensory experience, you are anchoring yourself firmly in eternal now. You are pulling your energy out of the abstract world of past and future and grounding it in the living reality of the present. In these moments of deep sensory immersion, the illusion of separation begins to thin. You feel your connection to the world around you not as a concept, but as a felt reality. You are no longer just an observer of life. You are a full participant in its unfolding dance. As you become more established in the state of present moment awareness, you may start to notice strange and wonderful things happening in your life. You might think of a friend you haven't spoken to in years, and then the phone rings and it's them. You might have a question nagging at you, and the answer seems to appear in the lyrics of a song on the radio or in a passage from a book you randomly open. This is a phenomenon of synchronicity, a term coined by the psychologist Carl Jung. Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences. They are moments when the inner world of your thoughts and feelings seems to align with the outer world events in a way that defies simple probability. From a perspective of a reality bound by linear time and separate objects, synchronicities are baffling anomalies. But from a perspective of an interconnected consciousness, they make perfect sense. If reality is a unified field of consciousness, a great cosmic mind, then your individual mind is a part of that. When you quiet your personal egoic static, you become a clearer receiver for the information and intelligence of the whole. Synchronicities are like winks from the universe, affirmations that you are in alignment with the greater flow. They are evidence that the separation between your inner world and the outer world is not as solid as you thought. They show you that you are in a constant, dynamic conversation with reality. The universe is not a dead, mechanical thing. It is a living, intelligent process, and you are an integral part of that process. This expanded perception also changes your relationship with creativity and intuition. Creativity, in this context, is not about straining to come up with new ideas. It is about becoming a conduit. It is about getting your egoic mind, with its fears and its need for control, out of the way, so that something larger can flow through you. The artist, the musician, the writer, the scientist, they all speak of moments of inspiration where the ideas just seem to come to them fully formed. They were in a state of flow, a state of deep presence where the boundaries of self dissolved and they tapped into a source of intelligence beyond their personal mind. This is consciousness creating through you. Intuition is a similar phenomenon. It is a form of knowing that bypasses a linear, logical mind. It is a gut feeling, a sudden insight, a quiet inner voice. In a world that worships data and rational analysis, we are often taught to mistrust our intuition. But intuition is a language of your deeper self, your connection to the unified field. It doesn't operate on the timeline of past evidence and future projection. It operates in the timeless now. It knows things directly. Learning to trust and act on your intuition is a powerful way to navigate life from a place of expanded awareness. It's like having an internal compass that is always pointing toward your true north, toward the path that is most in alignment with your authentic being and the flow of the universe. So what does a life lived from this perspective look like? It is not about levitating or disappearing from the physical world. It is the exact opposite. It is about being more fully, more vibrantly, more lovingly in this world. It is about seeing the sacred in the mundane, the infinite in the finite. The goal is not to escape time, but to be free from its psychological burden. You still have appointments to keep and schedules to manage, but you no longer believe that you are the character on that schedule. You play the game of time, but you know it's a game. You are not identified with it. This creates an inner spaciousness, a sense of ease and freedom, even amidst the busyness of life. The goal is not to deny the reality of physical space in your body, but to feel your profound connection to all of life. You still live in your house, but you feel that your true home is the entire cosmos. You still cherish your personal relationships, but you feel a sense of kinship with all beings. This doesn't make your personal loves less special. It makes them part of a much grander love story. The love you feel for a partner, a child, or a friend becomes a beautiful, focused expression of a universal love that permeates everything. When you live from this expanded perception, your relationship with problems changes. A problem, seen from the ego's perspective, is a terrible obstacle, a threat to your well-being. Seen from the perspective of unified consciousness, a problem is simply a life situation. It is a pattern of energy that is calling for your awareness. It is an opportunity for growth, a teacher in disguise. You approach it not with fear and resistance, but with presence and a sense of curiosity. You bring the light of your awareness to the situation, without the frantic need to fix it immediately. Often, in the light of that calm, present awareness, the solution reveals itself, or the problem dissolves, having served its purpose of waking you up a little more. Your relationship with death also transforms. From the ego's point of view, death is the ultimate annihilation, the end of everything. It is the greatest fear. But if your true identity is not the time-bound, space-bound body and personality, but the timeless, spaceless consciousness that is witnessing it all, then what is there to fear? The wave dissolves back into the ocean, but the water is not lost. The character in the dream disappears when the dreamer wakes up, but the dreamer's mind remains. Death is not an end, but a transition. It is a returning of the individuated form to the formless source. It is the ultimate letting go, the final dissolution of the illusion of separation. To live with this understanding is to live with a profound sense of freedom. You can live more fully, love more deeply, and take more risks because you are no longer playing for survival of your little, separate self. You are playing for the joy of the experience, for the beauty of the dance. This is not a belief system you are being asked to adopt. It is not another story to tell yourself. It is an invitation to direct experience. All these words are just signposts. Fingers pointing at the moon. Do not get fixated on the finger. Look at the moon. The truth of this is not found in any book or any lecture, including this one. It is found in the silent depths of your own being. It is found in the space between your thoughts, in the feeling of your own aliveness, right here, right now. The journey beyond time and space begins and ends in this precise moment. It is a shift, not a location, but a perception. It is a recognition that the kingdom of heaven, the realm of the infinite, is not in some other place or some future time. It is within you. It is the very fabric of your own consciousness, waiting to be discovered. All that is required is that you turn your attention inward, that you become quiet enough to hear the subtle whisper of your own timeless, spaceless essence beneath the clamor of the mind. Take a breath. Feel the life within your body. Notice the awareness that is here, experiencing this moment. This awareness is the portal. It is the key that unlocks the prison of time and space. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being, a field of infinite consciousness, having a temporary human experience. The purpose of this experience is not to escape it, but to awaken within it, to bring the light of your timeless, formless nature into the world of time and form, to see the one in the many, the eternal in the temporary, the dreamer in the dream. This is the expansion of perception. This is thinking beyond time and space. And it is your birthright. It is the truth of who you are. As we draw this contemplation to a close, let's return to where we began, to the simple, profound reality of your own presence. Feel the chair or the floor supporting you. Hear the sounds in your environment. Feel the gentle rhythm of your own breath, the anchor of the eternal now. The entire universe is contained in this single sensation, this single moment. If you are but present enough to perceive it, the journey is not outward into the cosmos, but inward into the self, which is where the cosmos truly resides. Thank you for sharing this space and time with me today. Thank you for your willingness to explore these deep questions. If this conversation resonated with you, if it sparked a flicker of recognition in the depths of your being, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Share it with others who might be on a similar path of inquiry. Each act of connection helps to grow this community of awareness. May you carry this sense of spaciousness and presence with you, and may you find infinite in every ordinary moment of your life. Be well.